Good evening and welcome to the school committee meeting of Monday, March 9th. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll move on to the acceptance of the minutes for the meeting of January 28th that was tabled from the meeting of February 9th.
Motion to approve minutes from January 28th.
Second?
All those in favor? That's a vote. Next, we have the minutes for the meeting of February 9th.
Motion to approve the minutes from February 9th.
Second.
All those in favor? And that's a vote. Under audience, we have the public hearing for the FY27 budget, but I would like to recognize Ms. Sharon McGonigal.
No, don't
Open the meeting. I'm sorry, I'm already out of line. Sorry. All right. This time being after 6:30, I will accept a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
The public hearing is run through the chair. I will ask the administration to present the FY27 budget. Then I will give members of the audience.
To open the meeting.
I'm sorry. Let's try this again.
Motion to open the public hearing for the FY27 budget.
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you, ladies. Thanks for being a team. Okay, here we go again. The public hearing is run through the chair. I will ask the administration to present the FY27 budget, and then I will give members of the audience an opportunity to make comments or ask questions through the chair. Comments and questions are limited to 2 minutes per speaker. Comments and questions are to be addressed to the chair, who will acknowledge the comment and/or request the administration to then respond to the questions. Once the audience portion has concluded, I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing, and then the committee will ask their questions and add their comments, and I will ask for a motion on the FY27 budget. Okay?
All right, you
Now-
ready? Ready. Thank you very much. I'd like to begin by just acknowledging the amount of work that goes into a budget and the number of people who are involved, Ms. Hackett and her team, and our office, the principals, the staff, town hall, finance committee, Doug, our town accountant. We've been in communication pretty much throughout the year on this budget. And when the governor's number came out and we knew that we were very, very short again, we immediately began working together. And it was refreshing to sit in my office with Doug and Scott and Jane and talk through these things when the governor's budget first came out, because I remember being in that office the day I was hired. And I was given a very clear message from Dick Phelps and from Dan Biggins, and that was, we have worked very hard to try to have a good relationship with Town Hall, and it hasn't always been that way. And they really wanted to make sure that we built a strong relationship with Town Hall. And so I feel after 10 years, we have built a very strong relationship with Town Hall. Now, it's one thing to say it, but what's my data? You know, my data is when you see the amount of money that the town is receiving and the amount of support that it is giving the schools, it's clear that they understand and they trust what we are telling them and showing them as far as our needs go. And so this is not a happy budget. In fact, it's the third unhappy budget that I've presented as superintendent over the past 10 years, perhaps the worst one, because we have cut back quite a bit to get here, which you'll see during the presentation. And what that means is our staff has continued to adapt and to find ways to get the job done. And I said to the high school staff and middle school staff this afternoon, I've seen like a little glazed look in people's eyes over the past week that I haven't seen before, and I was trying to figure out what it was. And I think we are living in a very, very unsettled time, not just here in Rockland, not just in Massachusetts, in our country and in our world. And I think it's affecting all of us to a certain extent. But bring it back to the budget. It's very difficult to not be angry when you build programs for kids and then you're trying to deconstruct them and yet not lose what you've built. And it's tough for the teachers who do it, and it's tough for the administrators who, I want to remind everyone, every one of us were teachers. I am a teacher. I am here to support teachers. Everything we do in this district, the most important moments happen between a teacher and a student. Not me, not the school committee, not Jane. Happens between a teacher and a student. And our job is to support them. And so what I said to FinCom when I left and what we talked about today was, let's be proud of how we behave throughout this period. This is a very difficult period. It's easy to get angry and it's easy to point fingers. And I implore you, ask a question, don't make a statement. If you have a question, ask it. If you have a question, ask it. Don't not ask it and come up with the wrong response, the wrong answer, and then you run off and get angry rather than just asking the question. So I refer to that as adulting, and I asked the staff to think about that at the beginning of the year, and throughout this budget process, I really want us to keep that in mind so that we're kind to one another, because this is not a happy budget for anyone. So with that said, we'll get started. The town was handed, we were all handed, this slide tells the whole story. We are almost 1.7 million short for what we needed to run the district as we did last year with our contractual increases. State aid went up by $176,000, and we were allowed to collect an additional $1.2 million in Prop 2.5. So that's our revenue side, that's the town. At the same time, the town is hit with a health insurance increase, that's not the total premium, that's just the increase for the year, of $1.7 million. 16% increase, I believe that number represents a 16% increase, but there's talk of a 19+% increase. We're working with that number right now for a bunch of reasons. Plymouth County retirement at almost $500,000. Now, Plymouth County retirement is hitting the town of Rockland and all the towns in Plymouth County with their goal of accelerating, fully funding retirement costs by 2032. So it's sort of like I'm saying this because it helps me understand it. If you finance a car for 6 years, it costs you more over 6 years than if you paid it off in 5, but your payments are bigger. So we have bigger payments because Plymouth County is trying to get this done quicker. I applaud them because they're trying to save taxpayers' money. I get it. But the result is overrides. Look at the news. Our neighbors, everyone's going for overrides because we're short money. So we're trying to get Plymouth County and Town Hall, Doug, and the committees are trying to get Plymouth County to consider not accelerating as quickly as 2032, because legally they have until 2040. So Boston did a similar thing. So they sort of refinanced and expanded it a little bit, and it takes a little pressure off their annual costs. So that's what we're asking them to do, because this is what the town was handed. Okay, so this is the fundamental problem is that we are short the money because of this. Can we go to the next? So it gives us a 1.67 million cut sheet to figure out how are we going to cut 1.67 million and make our budget balance. So our proposed budget was 38.2 million. The revenue increase from the town was 1.08. It's important to point out that the town, I'm not sure if the town even got 1.08.
They did not.
They did not. They didn't even get this much from the state, yet they are giving this to the schools.
Right.
So again, there's no one to be angry with here. You know, they are going above and beyond to help us. And you'll see in free cash, they're trying to help us that way as well. So, but our reality is, you go to the third block, there are 25 positions eliminated. We need to eliminate 25 positions. 72 or 73% of our $26 million budget is staff. And the rest, we'll talk to you about. And then we also have grants. But sometimes people think, well, if you let go a $100,000 teacher, then you're down $100,000. No, there's unemployment costs. So, which you'll see. So our total cut list was 25, 13 layoffs, 12 non-backfilled retirements and vacancies. And Jane, you're going to do the next slide.
Okay. The next slide talks about all of our revenue sources. Dr. Cron discussed the town meeting 1.1% increase from our town meeting appropriation, which totals $349,799 in new funds from the town. It's important to note here that we, the school department, through our food service balance in our food service account, gave the town $374,000 to pay for the costs of the health insurance of our food service employees. That helped enable the town to give us the 1.1%, even though they did not receive 1.1% in additional revenue. In addition, town meeting is again for the third consecutive year giving us $500,000 in free cash to help offset our out-of-district costs. This is actually a 39% decrease in free cash utilization, which is actually a good thing because it's addressing our structural difficulty that we're relying less on free cash for fiscal & than we were in fiscal '26, but the baseline of $500,000 for out-of-district costs assist via free cash from town hall remains. Circuit breaker is the one fund that is really assisting us this year. It's a 53% increase, $824,000 increase over the prior fiscal year. Most of us will remember 2 to 3 years ago, the years blend, but we were struck with the 14% state mandated increase in special education costs, in out-of-district special education costs, despite only being able to raise revenues by 2.5% under the tax levy and low state aid. So they increased a large portion of our budget by 14%. The good news is that the circuit breaker formula is starting to catch up with that increase of the 14%. So we're receiving, I'm sorry, circuit breaker is the reimbursement that we receive from the state for out-of-district costs that are in excess of $50,000. We receive 75% reimbursement for approved expenses, transportation, and tuition, 75% above a foundation number that hovers around $50,000. This is the first year that both transportation and tuition are fully funded by the governor's budget at 75%. Previously, it was 57% for tuition, then it was increased to 75%. Then transportation remained at 57%, and transportation has increased to 75%. This is one of the areas where all school districts are lobbying the state legislature to increase that reimbursement to 90%, from 75% to 90%. But with the catch-up in the funding, because it's a year in arrears, this year we're receiving reimbursement. We're in FY26, we're receiving reimbursements for expenses in FY25. Next year we'll receive reimbursements for FY26, and in '28 we'll receive reimbursements for FY27. Because the circuit breaker formula is starting to catch up, this is why we're able to utilize this high amount in circuit breaker costs. Our revolving accounts, which is our school choice, all of our revolving funds, building rentals, transportation, et cetera, is a slight decrease at $1.25 million. And again, we spoke about this last year during the budget. We'd ideally like to see that number at $1 million for sustainability going forward. So again, 1.1% from the town, partially funded through our own health insurance, payment of our own health insurance costs, $500,000 in free cash, $2.37 million in circuit breaker, and $1.25 million in revolving accounts.
You're on it. So we're going to explain specifically all of the cuts that are going to happen in the coming year, but we also wanted to remind folks that over the past 3 years, these positions have been cut. Starting with central office and an assistant superintendent. Executive secretary at central office was cut. 2 pupil service secretaries cut, 2 high school secretaries, an Eston early childhood secretary, 3 custodians, a maintenance worker, a van driver, instructional coaches, behaviorists, 1 interventionist, 1 middle school nurse, 1 middle school, high school librarian. We haven't had a librarian for a few years. The Phelps and Eston librarian also cut. Woodshop teacher, preschool teacher, a Phelps sped teacher, and paraprofessionals are generally in flux, sub-separates and students with special needs, and enrollment. We'll get people who move in, so paras are always changing.
Same with speech and language pathologists.
Next. So the 25 positions, 13 are direct layoffs. So in the Phelps School, the K-4 classrooms, 1 kindergarten teacher and 1 grade 2 teacher. Class sizes allow us to do that, enrollment allows us to do that, but it will increase class sizes. Secondary subject matter, so a middle school world language teacher and a high school Spanish teacher. Specialized support, middle school health teacher is being cut, and health will be changed at the high school, allowing the middle school to continue teaching health, and at high school, health will be taught by the phys ed teachers. We have 2 phys ed teachers that will assume the health curriculum. A middle school TLC SPED, high school SPED, and a Phelps reading specialist. The high school alternative program is our SAIL program, and that's going to be cut back a bit, and some of the services that were happening within the SAIL classroom will happen in the classrooms around the building, more like a satellite setup. So the services will continue, but how it's delivered will be different. High school English language teacher, and the building substitutes that we've kept, we're going to get rid of them. And an additional cut to central office is reducing accounts payable by 0.25. The unfilled retirements vacancies, we are not filling a preschool teacher, a kindergarten para, an Eston para, 2 Eston paras, Phelps secretary, middle school para, middle school sped para, middle school sped teacher, high school history, and a district custodian. The total savings is $1,679,573. And again, I reiterate, there is not a single change here that we are happy with. Not a single one are we happy with. Jane, you have the next slide.
I do. And I'll just note as well that there are also internal transfers in some of the backfilling of these positions. So you're listing the positions that are cut. There are transfers that are also involved when we're open. So these are our expenses compounding our pressures, driving up a 5.5% increase, but that is driven predominantly by 3 areas. One is unemployment is up 334%. That is due to the total cost of unemployment should all 13 individuals who are laid off collect all of their benefits. The total cost would be $463,000. Town Hall has agreed to use free cash as a one-time expense to help us offset a portion of those costs, which is approximately $262,000. During the current year, our natural gas year-to-date is up 24.9% over where it was at the end of February in 2024. I think we've all experienced this at home. We're experiencing this as a district as well. We are projecting an 8% increase over the 24% increase that we are realizing this year. I'm a little concerned about that estimate, on whether or not it will be enough, but it cannot possibly snow or be as cold as it was 2 years in a row. Transportation is up. I think it's important to note that when we negotiate and go out to bid for our contracts, we also are aware of the tax levy limit of Proposition 2.5 in our yellow buses, which is what everyone sees and thinks of when they think of school transportation, is only increasing 2.5%. This is the last year of our contract. We will be going out to bid for this year for FY '28. FY '27 is capped at a 2.5% increase. However, our SPED, homeless, and foster transportation are estimated to be up at 10%. That is a very conservative number. We have been up over 80% over the course of the last 2 years in costs for SPED, homeless, and foster transportation. We have reduced instructional supplies by $110,000, which is a 30% reduction. A good deal of this are licenses and software that supplement our curriculum at all levels of the building. And we have reduced professional development by 18% in shifting to a more in-house model, which we'll be working on formulating over the summer. The detail to the expenses, so everyone can see, the top is the total amount increasing by 5.49%, but as you go down, you can see the amounts and the percentages. If anyone has any questions on what any of these expense categories represent, I'm happy to answer them. And then we broke down underneath the actual transportation. So you can see the yellow bus is only up 2.5%, out of district, homeless, and foster are up 10%. Our athletic transportation, which is also governed by the contract that we have with First Student, is capped at 2.5%. And we have increased our SPED security and truck maintenance by 2.5%. So that is what we have for expenses.
So, out-of-district tuition, when I started here in 2012, we had more than 80 students out of district. The average cost of an out-of-district student in Massachusetts is $150,000. So we had over 80. We now have 30. What that means is we have a commitment to these programs in the school. We believe the kids are better served being in their community, in their home schools, with their friends. We believe, unless it's an exceptional case, we can educate and serve the children better here in district than out of district many times. But what that also means is that's very hard on our staff. And it's challenging, and they have had to learn new skills. We've gone through a period at Phelps of very physical young behavior. We didn't experience that 10 years ago, not as physical. So these changes have been very challenging to our teachers, and I think they've done an extraordinary job. But again, we've gone from 80 out of district to 30, and if you're averaging 150,000, there's a few $1 million. So that's a very important story, because when Senator Keenan was at Town Hall, he recommended that we do more with our in-house programs. So clearly he didn't know that we have gone from 80 to 30, or he probably wouldn't have suggested that. What I do want to mention is our overall salaries are increasing by 0.8%. So our contracts are 2.5% plus steps and lanes. But because of all the cutbacks, staff reductions, our overall salary number is going up 0.8%. Through this process and the work of the principals and the senior leadership team and the staff, we are trying to protect these four big blocks. Academic rigor. So oftentimes, we've been celebrating the success of the AP program at Rockland High School. We've been recognized by the College Board, so it's not just our opinion, it's our kids' scores. And they're taking the same test here in Rockland that they take in San Francisco. So our kids are learning exceptionally well at a high level. But AP programs are not just about high school kids, they're not just about your top 10%. an advanced placement program that is well done and part of the culture of a building makes your academic level rise. So if you have a strong AP math program, your college prep ninth grade math program is better because your teachers receive certain training and the curriculum that they're exposed to, it just makes everyone better. So our commitment to advanced placement and college prep, I think has paid off. We're starting to see some real strong results from our kids. But when we say AP, sometimes people think, well, you only care about the top kids, but that's not true. Strong academic rigorous programs help all of your kids. Specialized instruction. So our sub-separates, which again are those programs that brought us from 80 to 30. We are committed to stabilizing those. We've set aside $250,000 within this very tight budget to be sure that we have the ability to provide all the needs, provide for the needs of our kids in our sub-separates, as well as our general sped services and speech. Student support. We've protected all of our vital interventions at all levels, maintaining guidance at the high school and adjustment counselors throughout the district. Rockland has had adjustment counselors in every building for 15 years. We were one of the first in the area to have that many adjustment counselors. Why? Because they are game changers. And in our buildings, they're very, very important. So we're keeping them. And our SROs, our school resource officers. And finally, we are committed to a career pathway program at the high school, but it doesn't begin at the high school. It begins in kindergarten, but it really ramps up in middle school. So we're trying to, through budget reductions, maintain momentum in these programs and in these 4 areas. Jane, you have the next?
Sure. This is the beginning of what's left presentation, following all of the reductions. And so put on my department head hat for central operations. Our total central operations budget is $2,118,604 plus $307,217 for our van drivers and $153,494 for our share of the SROs. In central office, we have 1 superintendent for FY27, starting July 1st, one superintendent, 1 director of finance, 1 HR payroll person, 1 accountant, 1 transportation coordinator in building rental. They do both, 0.5 accounts payable, and 7 drivers. Under pupil services, we have a director, 0.4 out of district coordinator, a liaison, and a data manager. Plus, they coordinate all speech, language, OT, and PT services. Under IT and maintenance, we have a director and 2 staff. In maintenance, we have a director and 3 staff. I think it's important to note from both an IT and a building maintenance perspective that we cannot defer maintenance. Children, families, the town of Rockland, society, the economy rely on us opening our buildings every day. And if we don't have heat in a building, we have to get it fixed overnight immediately to open school the next day. Our maintenance and responsiveness of our maintenance and our IT staff is critical to our operations. So we've been asked for some detail of what the central office functions execute. So we have attempted to itemize them here for you. We have 1 payroll and human resources individual who every 2 weeks, thank you for the assist, who every 2 weeks does a payroll of approximately 515 individuals and a payroll across all of our individual collective bargaining agreements, including school employees and food services, WRPS, daycare, before and after school, the youth commission, and the adult education program that we run here at night. She meets with all new hires for all onboarding through all the various Town of Rockland portals and the Rockland Public Schools portals, from ASOP to Harper's to X2. She does everyone's benefits, retirements, processes all our terminations and all of our benefits. Just to get a sense of how fluid our staff is, since July 1st of 2025, she has processed 94 new hires, plus 35 summer hires. Our transportation and our building rental, one individual is responsible for the routing of 28 bus routes for 1,012 students, 3 tiers, 11 bus routes at Phelps, 11 at the middle school, 11 at the middle school, high school combined, and 6 at the Early Childhood Center. She is responsible for 46 individual out-of-district foster and homeless routes with individually contracted vans. She coordinates the 7 vans that we drive in-house that we either lease or own, servicing 117 students in-house. She is responsible for scheduling all building rentals and after-school activities, year-to-date 1,381 activities. Our accounts payable in FY25 processed $7,531,799 worth of invoices without an audit finding. She maintains all of the school department's bidding and purchasing contracts and records. Our one accountant handles all applications, amendments, and awards of all federal and state grants, completes all $35,213,981 general ledger expenditures, and completes all Department of Revenue and DESI reporting for all general fund revolving and grant expenditures, including our food service before and after school, and daycare, WRPS, et cetera. And again, 3 consecutive years in a row without an audit finding. Our information technology department services 4,953 devices, from Chromebooks to projectors, and averages 3,689 trouble tickets per year. From a security perspective, they manage 125 cameras, 56 access control panels on 3 separate systems, and 5 security servers. From an infrastructure perspective, they have 3 firewalls, 6 servers, 24 switches, 240 access points, 450 phones, 260 printers, and 36 copiers. For accounts, they manage 2,700 Google accounts, 300 Microsoft Office accounts, and 1,334 Adobe accounts. Their current projects include FY27 phone and switch upgrade, auditorium repair, Eston early childhood security upgrades, Roger Middle and Rockland High School camera upgrades, a transition to Arctic Wolf transition, and a cybersecurity playbook. Our facilities department of 3 and a director are responsible for 445,116 square feet of building space, with the total taxable value of $147,173,900. That excludes the Phelps Elementary School, whose square footage is included, but whose taxable value is not, because it is not still technically under the control and ownership of the town. Some of the things that they do: they're responsible for all building and grounds for all 4 schools. Thank you. For all 4 schools, plus the Arms building, which is a building that rents from us. They maintain all the heating, electrical, plumbing, lighting, food service equipment, athletic equipment, the fleet maintenance, overwhelmingly in-house and less expensive than if we had to contract out for these services. They complete all of our painting, carpentry, and assembly of all our equipment, from desks to office furniture, to hanging televisions and devices in all of our classrooms. Their current projects include a current ongoing issue that we are having with the electrical service supply in our auditorium. In gym, we have an issue with our gym heating system, and they're doing a mass save lighting upgrade and an FY28 comprehensive capital plan, in addition to the snow removal that they conducted over the course of the last 2 months.
We also wanted to, I think, Finance Committee had implied that they'd like to see a breakdown of how each building functions. So we have showing you what we have for staff in each building. So at the Eston School costs $3,400,086 a year to run. In administration, we have 1 principal, 1 nurse, a .5 pre-K coordinator, and 1 secretary. At classrooms, we have 3.5 pre-K classes, 8 kindergarten classes, and 2 sub-separates. Support and operations, we have 14 paraprofessionals. We have a half-time psychologist, a half-time adjustment counselor, 1 interventionist, 1 English language tutor, 3 custodians, a half-time English language learner teacher, and 1 special education behaviorist. The Phelps footprint, Phelps is a $7.8 million operation. In administration, you have 1 principal, 2 assistant principals, 1 nurse, 1 CNA, the nursing assistant, and 2 secretaries. We have 31 classrooms, grades 1 through 4, 5 sub-separates, 5 general special education. In support and operations, we have 27 paraprofessionals, 2.5 interventionists, 2.5 English language learner teachers, 1.5 psychologists, 1 behaviorist, 2.5 adjustment counselors, and 4 custodians. There's a strip along the bottom, just a reminder that over the past 3 years, we have eliminated a secretary at Eston, a behaviorist, and a custodian. At Phelps, we have eliminated a behaviorist, a sped teacher, an instructional coach, and an interventionist. Also, in the middle, you'll notice all of our schools, the Eston receive specialists, so they are our music teacher, our gym teacher, library resources. They go down once a week and support Eston so that the kindergarten and kindergarten students get specialists.
And if I could just point out here, Dr. Cron, that we have not listed all of the OT speech language pathologists and assigned to buildings because those assignments occur over the summer as we get caseloads in sped due to transitions between kindergarten, grade 1, 4 to 5, et cetera. But there are no reductions to speech language or occupational from fiscal 26 to 27.
Okay, our secondary schools, Rogers Middle School, $7,058,972. We have 1 principal, 2 assistant principals, and 1.8 secretaries. Classrooms, 33 general classrooms, 4 sub-separates, and 6 general special education classes. Specialist health and operations, 2 guidance counselors, 2 adjustment counselors, 1 nurse, 4 custodians, 2 English language learner teachers, 1 interventionist, and 1 behaviorist. At the high school, $7.1 million. We have 1 principal, 1 assistant principal, 1 dean, 1 athletic director, and 3 secretaries. There are 27 subject teachers, 5 general special education teachers, 2 sub-separates, and 2 alternative programs. Our specialist health and operations, we have 4 specialists, 4 guidance staff, 2 adjustment counselors, 1 nurse, 1 job coach, 4 custodians, and 1.5 English language learner teachers. Reminder, over the past 3 years, the Rogers has lost a librarian, behaviorist, and a custodian. In the high school, we've eliminated woodshop, the librarian, and a custodian.
And Dr. Cron was correct in the 3 secretaries for the high school. The PowerPoint slide said 2 in my error.
Which is remarkable, because I'm usually not the one that's right. Okay, finalizing where we are now. We're working with the town to lock in final revenue numbers, free cash allocations, and I know they're working on healthcare costs, and we are in constant communication. Those numbers are changing on a regular basis. The budget at the state level is still moving. We are not optimistic that that number is going to go up. Historically, the governor's number is generally lower, and it goes up. We are not anticipating. There's been some questions over the governor's revenue projections already, so there is a concern. It could even, I doubt it'll go down, but we're not thinking it's going to go up. Staff variables, one of our biggest variables we will know by April 15th, and that is how many of the 8 folks who are on maternity right now are going to return. And that, again, changes, costs and coverages and all kinds of things. And we're going to continue to advocate for increases and changes to Chapter 70 education and to circuit breaker. While I'm on circuit breaker, I have had this conversation with Scott McKinley, John Rogers, and the Finance Committee the other night, asking about out-of-district costs and why this is not something that the state covers. The state, out-of-district costs, because year after year, we experience just unanticipated move-ins, and we're lucky that we are able to cover it, but it's very difficult. Circuit breaker reform is something that will help us very much, and if that goes up to 90%, that's a game changer. So we are really advocating for circuit breaker work as much or more than Chapter 70 work at this time.
Right, and it's not just more Chapter 70, it's fixing the formula. The formula itself is broken. When the percentage of school districts are only receiving, less than 1% or less in Chapter 70 increases year after year, despite the governor funding Chapter 70 at a 3.5% increase. We're only seeing 1 to less than 1% increase in Chapter 70, or I should say the town is, because the town receives Chapter 70 as part of their state aid. It does not come directly to the school district, which circuit breaker does.
So the final slide is the slide and the numbers that we will ask the school committee to vote. Before that, I'd just like to close. This team here, the senior leadership team, and the union leadership team, I got to attend a meeting of the union reps, and I'm sitting in this meeting with Jane and the union reps, and I'm just so grateful that we have a relationship, because it's good for kids. Not because I want to be invited to parties, but it's good for kids. This team has worked incredibly hard with their staff to do this incredibly difficult work of what are we going to cut. And it's hard, and everybody's tired. I know they are. I could see it in their face. But I'm incredibly proud of this group, and I'm incredibly proud of our staff, because to go from 80 out of district to 30 means somebody's doing an amazing job, and it's our folks. And I'm very, very proud of them. I'm proud of Town Hall. I'm proud of this committee that we're working together. And I really hope that we continue to do that, because it's very, very important. It makes all the difference in the world. Because a year from now, we won't remember that we were short money, but we will remember what people say and do to one another. So just please, let's remember that, and be kind and patient. And again, let's ask questions, not make statements, especially if we don't fully understand what exactly it is we have a question about. So again, thank you very much for everything that's gone into this budget. Thank you to the Finance Committee. Thank you again to Doug and Scott, who have been amazing to work with. And thank you, I think, almost most importantly, to this individual right here, because she's amazing. And we have, I mean, through COVID, pre-COVID, post-COVID, every rock we could pick up and look under for money, we have done. And we have found some. There was a point where we were looking for 40,000 a day. How are we going to find 40,000? And we're looking under every rock. And there have been things that Jane has found and created that have saved this town a lot of money. But more importantly, we're very confident in how we do things here on this side of the street, and we're very proud of it, and it feels like everyone's working together, and I think that's really good for kids, so I hope we keep that going. And that's all I have.
Okay. That was a lot.
I know, I don't want to hear my own voice ever again.
All right, so now we'll move on to questions for Sharon.
However you'd like to.
Sharon, would you like to come up? We'll start with you, if you don't mind, please.
All right, hello, everyone.
Welcome.
I just want to touch upon the budget and working relationships as seen through my eyes through the union. I have a couple board members here that I'd like to acknowledge. Jess Carpini, our grievance chair, is here. Fred Damon, our head negotiator, is behind me, and Julie McDonald, our secretary, is also behind me. So as the president of the Rockland Education Association, I want to acknowledge the difficult budget situation our district is currently facing. Budget constraints of this magnitude impact programs, staffing, and the overall structure of our schools. And we recognize the uncertainty that these decisions can create for educators and students alike. Throughout this process, the association has remained committed to advocating for our members while also working collaboratively with district administration. While the decisions surrounding program reduction, staff cuts, and reorganization are never easy, our goal has been to work together since the beginning. I am proud that our union has approached this challenging time with professionalism and a focus on unifying. By maintaining open lines of communication with administration, we've been able to raise concerns, ask important questions, and aim for results that balance the needs of our members with the best interests of our students. Difficult financial moments test organizations and relationships. Our association continues to demonstrate that strong unions can both advocate firmly for their members and engage constructively with district leadership. Moving forward, we remain committed to representing our membership and navigating these challenges while protecting the strength and integrity of our schools. And I want to thank Jane and Alan. We do work together. I don't want to say it's not the norm, but I've been to many conferences and things over my 9 years as president of the association, and things work better when they go smoothly. And I appreciate our working relationship, and I hope it continues. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon. I would like to add to that, I don't want to speak on for these ladies, but it is not normal that administration, senior leadership, and the union sits in one room, talks about hard decisions, hard things, and we get what we're here for. We're here for the kids. I'm getting emotional. This is a hard seat to sit in. It's hard to be responsible for all of this. We are here for our kids. Every day, our staff get up and they come in, no matter what we're pitching at them, right? This isn't the budget that we want. This is the budget that we got. And look at this team. If you all could see this team sitting here in front of us, I wish we could swing it around and show this is the team that comes in and day out, and they do what is best for kids, and they just continue to do it. I am so proud to sit in this seat and be able to represent Rockland and know that that's the teachers and the faculty and the staff that are coming in and doing their best every single day. I can't say enough. I commend them all. I commend all of you for running these numbers and doing the best you can with what you got. This isn't, like we said, what we want, but it is what we got. And I just can't, to have unions sitting here, to have senior leadership sitting here, and we're all still focusing on the task at hand, and that's the students. They're all our students, whether they're AP students, whether they're special needs students, whether they're the SAIL program students, they're all our students. And I'm lucky to be able to work with these ladies here. And we also agree that our job is to oversee this budget, responsible for this budget, but to also let these people that are in the education field that we are, well, one of us is, but the others aren't, do their jobs and get to watch them do it well. So I just wanted to say that. And then we can move on to our questions portion of this. Does anyone in the audience have a question
Or comment?
or comment besides my emotional self? Nothing. Nobody. Sure, come on up. Can you just introduce
Yeah.
yourself, please?
Quick question. Bill Stewart from the Finance Committee.
Thank you.
You said Phelps is not under the control of the town or something like that at this point. Could you explain that? I just don't understand that.
I don't want to misspeak on a technical term. I defer to Doug Blapp and Mr. Penny, the chair of the building committee. But as of yet, Town Hall has not registered an assessed value for Phelps Elementary School. And Mr. Penny is nodding because the town has not yet fully assumed ownership of the Phelps Elementary.
When does it assume full responsibility? Just curious.
That would be a matter for Mr.
Yeah.
Penny.
Richard Penny, 30 Center Ave, Chairman of the School Building Committee. So that project still has not officially closed. So we have a couple of litigation cases that are still pending, actually one that's still open. So once that is completed, we'll be able to then officially close out the project, and then at that point, the town will assume full responsibility of the building. I don't have exactly the time, because it's lawyers negotiating, but that's the holdup of it. Okay?
Thank you both. Sure, come on up.
You get that one.
Hello, I'm Megan Leon Cavallo. I have a question about the slide that was, when you were talking about the different schools and the number of staff members.
Sure.
Is that before or after the cuts?
These are after the cuts.
Okay, so it's not like currently. And, thank you. And then, what can parents do to advocate
For what exactly?
with the state, with the budget, parents whose kids have needs?
Right. So we have a great relationship with State Rep Dave DeCoste and Senator Keating. They were both at, go ahead, they were at the selectmen meeting with us. We have been advocating as best that we can. We, the school committee and the selectmen, sent a letter to both of them, sort of trying to advocate for us and for our students. Jane, do you want to take it more from there?
We also attended, it's yearly, the Mass Association of School Committees, of School Superintendent hosts the entire legislative delegation from the South Shore. And that meeting was last Thursday following the FinCom meeting, where they went into very specific detail, and they'll be forwarding to us a template for advocacy tips. The two central are increasing the circuit breaker from 75% to 90% of reconstruction of the Chapter 70 form, in a reconstruction of the Chapter 70 formula, and of course, more Chapter 70.
Right, right.
But really, in a nutshell, it's building a bridge to how are we going to financially get to when this pension and healthcare crisis sunsets. And there needs to be a partnership between the state and local municipalities in establishing that bridge.
Okay, great. And one more question. Should you get any more financing, would there be any particular area that you'd be prioritizing, or, what areas might be in the most need?
Right now, as Dr. Cron stated, we have a set-aside figure for our sub-separate programs. And, we don't know what preschool enrollment is, we don't know what kindergarten enrollment is, we don't know what our sub-separate has. There's no buffer anywhere in this budget except for that. So we felt it was important
Of course.
to maintain that. So we'll be addressing those needs, but we're also looking at decreasing the utilization of some of our one-time revenues, specifically circuit breaker and the revolving accounts. So we have money aside next year as we're trying to build this bridge to a decrease in pension and health insurance costs.
So whatever money, if we were able to get increased funds, we're thinking about a 50-50 split of that. We would put 50% of whatever we saved to reduce our use of one-time money, and 50% to possibly, reinstate some of the things that we've had to remove.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? No. Okay. Then from there, we will move on to,
Well, actually, I didn't know if you were asking out to the audience. I just have a couple questions on slides. The unemployment percentage, I don't know
Yes.
what number slide that is. You, I think, alluded to, this is the amount if they take their full unemployment.
Correct.
So this is sort of a reserve for what we anticipate we will have to pay, but maybe won't use all of that if someone gets a job right away
That-
and
that
they
is
don't
correct.
file for unemployment,
Right.
so.
We
have
do
ideas?
average around $60,000 a year in unemployment costs through either non-renewals or terminations, et cetera, during the course of the year. There's always unemployment costs. The increase of, the total cost of $463,000 is exactly the $31,500 times, it's times the 13.
Oh, the 13.
And then
They're
it's
not
split,
five bills.
right, and then it's split between the town's utilization of free cash and ours. We, of course, will exhaust the free cash article first.
Okay. I think that was it. I circled a couple other things, but I think I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm good.
Ladies, anything? No? Okay. Then with that, we will ask for a motion to close the public hearing, and then after that, we'll motion to accept the budget. Okay.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
All those in favor? Okay. And then I will entertain a motion to approve the budget. Do you have the number?
Yep, tell me about them here. Motion to approve the proposed budget for fiscal year 27 of, oh God, I'm gonna have to go like this, $38,255,446.
Motion to approve?
Oh, second.
All those, that's okay, that's okay. All those in favor? Okay, that's that. Okay, that is that portion. Now, we go on to, back into our regular meeting. We'll go on to school newsletters. We received these by email. We received Phelps, Rogers Middle School, and the Rockland High School newsletters. Any questions or comments on the newsletters? Nope, nothing. Okay, we'll move on to our reports. We have monthly reports for the administrators, Ms. Shipper, Mr. McAllister, Ms. Shifley, and Mrs. Sheehan. Guidance, Ms. Black. Nurse, Ms. Davis. Pupil Personnel Services, Dr. Manigla, and Dr. Curtis Whipple.
Before I do motions, just thank you for always doing the reports. It's great to see attendance levels, maintenance reports, you know, all the meetings that you guys have. So 8 motions. I think people probably are like, what are in these monthly reports? But it's sort of a summary of what's happening in the various departments. 8 motions to approve.
Second?
All those in favor? That's a vote. And then for our financial reports, we have the school department, the Rockland High School student activities, the Rogers Middle School student activities, and food services.
4 motions to approve the financial reports.
Second?
All those in favor? That's a vote. And these reports are the reports that not every town gets, and we get them very often. This is sort of what's causing drama to other towns around us that you're hearing in the news. So we are lucky that we always sort of know exactly what's going on. And then we'll move on to new business. We have new fundraisers. We have, the Eston PAC is doing a dining for a cause at Players this Wednesday from 4 to 9. Entertain a motion to
She
approve.
gave us a new.
Oh, another
sheet.
one? I'm sorry, I had it buried. We'll keep going with the Rockland High School Key Club, the Dog Depot Bake Sale. Class of 2027 will do senior gift bags. Every senior gets a gift bag on the last day of classes. And the class of 2027 senior lawn signs. They'll sell lawn signs for graduating seniors to raise money for the class of 2027.
Always good fundraiser. So 4 motions to approve.
4 seconds?
All those in favor? And that's a vote. Okay. Now we'll move on to our proposed Rockland High School program of studies for the changes, study changes for 2026 to 2027 school year. Ms. Schiffer? Hi.
Very small change. So in our program of studies, we had 3 separate student-initiated opportunities for students. We put them under a new heading called Student-Initiated Learning Opportunities. That's really it. Classroom teaching science lab assistant. The language was the same as last year, so that's lab assistants. Those students have to apply for those positions. It's pass or fail. And basically, they set up labs, which is wonderful for the kids. They're doing that. Some of them have interest in sciences for their careers. They're able to set up labs. Works well for everybody because the teachers have the labs set up for them. The kids are doing hands-on learning and, enhancing their understanding of lab techniques and so forth. So, again, this was in there last year. It's just clearly under the student-initiated learning opportunities heading. Independent study, same language as it's always been. Student interested in proposing an independent study has to get approval of the department head, and there's an application. And then they have to have a teacher with whom to work. And finally, virtual high school can be a half or a full credit course, as can, independent study and lab assistant. And virtual high school is a program we use where students can have the opportunity to study something outside of our curricular areas, like computer science. We have an AP further physics class. So it's just a way for students to, take opportunities that we don't have offered at Rockland High School, and then they can further their education that way. So it's just a more clear of a way of presenting student-initiated learning opportunities. So that's it.
All right, excellent.
I just have a question. For the virtual high school, does
Yes.
guidance have like a list of opportunities for the students?
They do.
That's all.
Yep, so it's a company.
Yeah.
And we have some typical offerings, but if a student came to us and said, I really, really want to do this thing, and if it was offered, we would, find a way to get it to them.
That's great.
So
Excellent.
it's great. It's a lot of work for the student, because they have to manage it completely on their own with their, guidance counselor support, and they do it in the guidance office, but they have to log on, they have to, log in for classes, they have to manage the course load. It can be challenging for kids. It's a great opportunity for them to learn how kind of learning goes in college, at the college level. Kind of initiate, to take that initiation on their own. So it's a good thing. It's a good way for us to expand our offerings.
Excellent. I agree. Anything?
How many students would participate, do you think?
Oh, gosh. This year, we had a few step back. I don't know the exact number. I'd put it between 10 and 15.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. And there is an application process for that, because we want students to make sure they, quite honestly, know what they're in for.
Right.
Before we sign them up, and, we don't want to mislead them. Like, this is easy. It's challenging for some students to not have that teacher checking in regularly on a day-to-day basis and say, you've got these things due. So students, kind of sign a contract. And
In a small high school, it's a great way to be able to give students ways to beef up their program of studies and make themselves competitive, especially kids who are doubling in science and things like that now. Especially in a small high school, you end up with what are called singletons, and it's very difficult sometimes to get, especially if they're in band, to get kids in the courses they want, and it's a game changer, so very important for us.
Thank you.
it's great to have.
One more question.
Yep.
The classroom teaching science lab, it's for the courses taught in the high school.
Correct.
We're not having them go to Phelps and, they're not a teaching assistant.
Correct, but that's a great idea.
But it could be an idea.
Yeah.
It popped in my
Write that
head. I
down.
was like,
Yeah, it's mostly
there
said-
are a lot of people like Miss Maroney over there that maybe are going to study childhood education. So
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's an opportunity, if this is just within, a senior teaching or helping out in a freshman English class, could they help in other classes
Yeah.
throughout the district?
It's a great idea. Right now, it's just in the labs.
The labs, okay.
So it's, setting up a biology lab for all the ninth graders, or chemistry lab, or whatever the need is. But they set it up, they take it down, they do some of the cleaning, which can be really difficult for
Time-consuming,
teachers.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
dangerous, too. There's
One more
chemicals
thing.
and-
Oh, absolutely, they have to be trained.
It's
Yep.
very serious.
Sure.
I've read the program of study several times, and I missed that one about the lab assistant. So, motion to approve.
Second?
All those in favor?
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Want
Ms.
to
Shepherd.
stay? These are graduation procedures.
Oh, yeah, come
Yeah,
right
might as
back up.
Exactly the
Back
same.
up.
Oh, sorry. I missed that.
You have the next two.
So we'll-
Graduation procedure.
Graduation procedures.
Graduation procedures is next.
Okay.
Sorry, do you want one?
Exactly.
I mean, it's not changing.
It's
Right,
exact-
It's been
exactly.
this way since I graduated.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry,
That's
Cheryl.
okay. Graduation is on May 29th. You guys approved that.
1991 It was.
Okay, so shall I go through the process?
Yeah, sorry, we've lost control.
Okay, no problem. So we start with the processional, and then we do the salute to the flag and the national anthem. And then we have opening remarks. There will be a music selection played. There'll be an address of welcome, presentation of awards, valedictorian award, presentation of the class gift, acceptance of the class gift, presentation of the seniors for graduation, presentation of diplomas, closing remarks, and then the recessional back out.
It's not going to rain.
It's not going to
No,
rain.
don't jinx us.
It's going to be beautiful blue skies.
It's
That is the
freaky how,
plan.
how it doesn't rain.
Don't,
Oh.
don't.
No, there was one year when it was
When
raining
it-
in Abington, raining in Hanover, and not in
And not in
Rockland.
Rockland.
It was a little close last year. I believe it drizzled on the way out. It was very
okay.
windy, flowers knocked down, so.
Well, it's a great graduation procedure, so motion to
Me.
approve.
All those in favor? And that's a vote. And then we'll move on to graduation 2026 parent information packet.
Okay, so we have assembled a packet for parents, which has a letter from, do you have this in front of you?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
we do.
wonderful. A letter from me kind of outlining the plan, starting with a class meeting, which starts on April 3rd, which is coming right up. And at that meeting, we kind of go through expectations, friendly reminders to students how to be successful and make it to graduation, and, you know, what their responsibilities will be. And then we have the road to graduation, which is dates leading up to graduation. So if you want to look at that, we start with locker cleanout. This is a little depressing for some of the people in this room, or maybe happy. On Monday, May 18th, we have a locker cleanout, a meeting, seniors' last day of classes. That's the day their senior obligations are due. That's any outstanding books, any outstanding cafeteria balances, any outstanding detentions,
Going all the way back.
all the
If you
way.
didn't turn in a library book
all
in
the
third
way.
grade,
Yeah.
no diploma for you.
And then on Tuesday, the 19th, we have senior final exams for world language, history, and science and in the lecture hall, and we have senior final exams also on the 20th. Many students don't take senior final exams. They have to meet criteria, which is attendance-related and dependent on their grades in those classes. But some do have to take them, so those are those 2 days. Thursday, the 21st, we have senior issues. I just had a meeting with Ms. Davis. We are starting to look at our senior issues plan. So we have 4 major activities planned for the students. I don't want to give anything away, but they get trained in CPR. They have a financial literacy component. And there are a few other good things we don't usually tell them in advance so that they can be surprised. Seniors in good standing receive their final folders that day. And then we have a senior cookout, which the parents are starting to plan also. We are hoping for not a deluge like there was this year, where the rain came down sideways, but we somehow managed to have fun in the gym because the parents were amazing and the kids had a great time nonetheless. So we had indoor games and so forth. Friday, the 22nd, will be prom, and all the activities leading up to the prom that day. So prom tickets just went on sale, I think today. Then Monday, the 25th, is Memorial Day, so on Tuesday, we have graduation rehearsal. It's important to note on this, the bold activities are mandatory, so graduation rehearsal, 9 a.m. that morning, mandatory. Caps and gowns are distributed that day. If everything goes well, that's a 2-hour rehearsal. Wednesday, the 27th, we have the academic and athletic banquet. Dinner starts at 6. 7 o'clock awards. Then on Thursday, we have our senior breakfast and parade. The principals have all agreed to have us. Some time ago, they committed.
What kind of parade?
Where the
No, I know what it
seniors
is,
get-
but-
Sorry. The seniors get
I've
dressed
been
in their
there.
caps and gowns, and they, after their breakfast, they walk from one school to the next. So, and they are warmly welcomed by the students and staff in those buildings, and they walk around and get cheered on, and it's, a lot of kids really, really like it. They
It's a
say
big-
it's a
big
wonderful
tradition, yeah.
experience for them to
Yeah.
go back and see all of their teachers throughout their entire education. So, it's a little disruptive to this visiting school, but I think everybody benefits from it, so. Then we have yearbook distribution after that. And then finally, Friday is graduation day. Graduation rehearsal is at 9, that's mandatory. And then graduation starts at 6:30 that night. Students meet at 5:30. We have a rain date for the next day, 11 a.m. start, and we're gonna cross our fingers really hard that that doesn't happen.
I agree.
So that is the road to graduation. We have some information about the prom in here and graduation, so you know the major events. I can go through it if you'd like, but no, okay, I will not. Seen
You don't
some
have
information about their records, what will be in it, so families can expect that. The graduation protocol, and prom procedures. So that's it. So families will be receiving that shortly,
Okay.
as long as you guys approve it.
Any questions? No? Erin, any questions? All right.
Motion to approve the graduation 2026 parent information packet.
Second. All those in favor? That's a
Wonderful.
vote.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Are these documents translated?
Yes.
Yeah. Just making sure.
And then we'll move on
Thank you.
Thank you.
to the 2026-2027 Rockland Public Schools calendar, first reading.
Yeah, it's the first reading, so take it home and look at it, and if you have any questions about how we've sort of spread out things and professional development, we've worked with the senior leadership team to put this together. But folks always pick up on something, so please, let us know if you see anything. I will say, next year, end of school, with 5 snow days, is the 28th of June. So that's a little spooky, but
It's not gonna snow.
it's not gonna snow. No, that's what we said this year.
And here we are.
Here we are. So any questions?
The latest we've started, but I think that's more because of the calendar. The proposed first day of school is September 2nd.
Right.
And usually, historically, we start
End
in
of August.
August. But I'm guessing that's just because Labor Day is late, so we usually do the week before Labor Day, and Labor Day is the 7th this year. So just kind of that was something that I looked for, the August date of when they go back to school.
Any
That
other?
was sort of just my first
So
follow-up.
table it and
Yep,
give yourself some time to look at it.
yeah.
Motion to table the Rockland Public Schools 26-27 school calendar.
Second?
All those in favor? That's a motion to table. And then we'll move on to Dr. Cron's superintendent report.
I will be brief. Just want to say thank you to the Blarney Brunch Committee and for turning out Sunday. They raised money for the athletic department. For the high school athletic department. I heard a number,
Roughly $12,000.
$12,000. Yes, amazing.
Absolutely.
It was great. Thank you for doing it. A quintessential Rockland type activity. So it was a lot of fun. That's all I have.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. We'll start with our public service announcements. Ms. Maroney?
We're kind of in between seasons right now for sports seasons, but spring sports tryouts and stuff start next week. And then going off what Ms. Shipper said with this parent packets, if you are a student, or anyone I guess, you can go to the Rockland 2026 Instagram, and there's months laid out. Our secretary just posted it, Molly Lucas, of April and May. of all like the important dates and everything. So you can go there and have it in one like spot, really.
All right, that's all you have? Thank you, that was a lot. We'll go left. Jamie?
Well, just following on Dr. Brown, just wanted to say thank you to the Rockland community, everyone who bought raffle tickets, attended the Blarney Brunch yesterday. It is an event that is put on by Rockland Friends, and they pick a different charity every year to benefit from the Pot of Gold 50/50 raffle. So the high school athletic boosters was the recipient this year, so that's where the 10,000, and then we had some other raffles. So hopefully that will be put to some good use soon. We do, obviously, a busy March, just calling out 2 other events. The Shamrock Classic is coming up on March 18th, which is always a great middle school event where the 8th graders play the teachers and staff. And then we have the Harlem Wizards, so 2 back-to-back basketball events this year on March 25th, which is a great community event. We had it last year as well, and it raises money again for high school athletes. So that's really it.
That's a lot.
Yes.
All right, we'll go to you, Ms. Emily.
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Michelle?
I just wanted to give kudos to Emily Creedon and Holly Gage for putting on a great family night at Phelps last week. And it dovetailed really nicely. They talked about student mental health, and the previous one was on student behavior and how just, to help your kids out. And they just worked out really, really well. The next topic is child safety in April, and I highly recommend that too. These nights have been wonderful. I've attended, I think, 4 or 5 of them. They've been great. I also wanted to give a shout out to our chair, who was a judge in Rockland's Got Talent, which seems like it was a long time ago.
It was like months ago.
Yeah, but that was a fun night. And remind folks that Guys and Dolls is coming up at the high school at the end of the month, and keep reading those newsletters. There's a lot of good stuff in there.
All right, thank you. And then I just had to add that the last day of school for this year is June 25th, which is close to our June 30th cutoff, so really, fingers crossed that we could really get no more snow. And that's all I had. I'll entertain a motion.
All right, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? That's a vote. Thank you very much, all of you being here, all of you.
Cue the music.
Cue the music.